Ralph Nader at one time ran for the Oval Office and as such has some insights he can share on this year's race to the White House. And with that, we welcome Ralph Nader back to our studios here at TVO. I want to show you some tape. This is 15 years ago, you and me, talking about the two-party system that your country has, which of course is very different from what we've got. Let's roll the clip, please. Could you make a bigger impact on domestic politics in the United States if you just joined the Democratic Party and tried to take it over?
That's not possible. Bradley couldn't do it. McCain couldn't do it in the Republican Party. You couldn't get two more formidable challengers, and they can't do it. The system in the primary stage closes in. And I think it's very important to try to break the two-party grip, to end the control of the notorious Debate Commission Corporation, and to build a third party.
First of all, you don't look a hell of a lot older, I gotta say, which is pretty impressive. Number two, though, do you think the rise of Bernie Sanders, which we have, say, a guy who, admittedly caucuses with the Democrats, but, he's a self-styled independent and has tried to be an independent force in Washington, D.C., has he changed your views at all about the possibilities of the Democratic Party and about what a third force can do?
Well, it remains to be seen what happens in the primaries, because the primary rules in the United States favor the most powerful control of the rules. I mean, and it's so arcane you can't even explain it. But that's one reason why Barack Obama beat Hillary Clinton, because his people knew the rules and the timing better. Sort of like inside work. But he is drawing huge crowds. And the interesting thing is, he did not drop the name socialist, the word. And it doesn't matter. There are so many disgruntled people and young people, and they really want a different kind of politics. And he doesn't go to fundraisers.
Has no pollsters.
No pollsters. And he is, most of his money is $30, $40, $50 coming in over the internet. And he's getting, crowds in South Carolina. Makes my point. It doesn't matter, red state, blue state, they both bleed. They both get injured. They both get denied insurance. They both get underpaid. They both are exposed to toxics. And they don't get their calls returned when they dial City Hall. So I think it all depends on how tough he is, in a nice way, taking on Hillary Clinton, because he's going to have to go after her on foreign and military policy. She's trying to mimic him with her statements. Yes, Wall Street has to be more accountable. Maybe we have more taxes on the rich. But very few people believe that in the United States, which is why her polls on trustworthiness are quite high.
Well, she gets a lot of money from them.
Yes.
Okay, so Bernie Sanders would be one side of the disgruntlement coin, and we're seeing the impact he's having. Donald Trump is obviously the other side of the disgruntlement coin. What do you think of the phenomenon that his candidacy has presented so far?
Well, he's the ultimate theater. If people see that politicians turn elections into a circus, well, he's the big circus man. So he's sort of proving the point.
But is it more than that, though?
Yes, it is. It's basically anti-politically correct. When you have politically correct aura, you suppress what people think, and they're afraid to speak out. Suddenly they see this guy speaking out and saying, I don't care what is politically correct. I find him disruptive in a very good way of the Republican Party. I mean, he's their biggest nightmare, right? But also, he's also giving a lot of support for people's prejudices and biases, and that is not good. But when he basically says, well, we pay these politicians and they do what we want. Well, that's a good quote for us, right? For, to show the validity. The one I was most amazed when they said to him, Mr. Trump, you say you're a great businessman. Your companies have gone bankrupt 4 times. And Trump says, well, what's wrong with that? That's a competitive advantage these days. All my friends do it. You see?
He said, don't cry for the bondholders. They're a bunch of snakes, they're vicious.
Yeah, and it shows how the bankruptcy law has been changed to advantage the bankrupt company and the retention bonuses for the executives. Now, you can't have a better quote than that, you see? So we'll see where he goes. He could just suddenly decide to quit in a fit, or he could sober up a bit, but just think of the ratings for the television shows on the debates.
They'll love him when he's there and they'll miss him if he's not. I won't push this comparison too far, but you did well when you ran for president on the Green Party label, in part because I think people knew that what came out of your mouth was the genuine article. And I guess they feel that way about Trump and Sanders as well. They know that whatever comes out of those guys' mouths has not been focus group tested to death. People are still yearning for that authenticity, aren't they?
Oh, very much so. There's a phrase that senators are accused of when they talk, senatese. I mean, it's so contrived and controlled. And people see through that. They see through phony politicians. They may not support third parties because they know that the system is rigged against third parties, and worse than any other Western country. We've written books and litigated on that, but they do see, and that's Hillary Clinton's problem, you see.
Let's finish on this, because we've seen in Canada, parties can spring up overnight and become, you know, hugely significant. The Reform Party came out of nowhere, became the official opposition. The Bloc Québécois came out of nowhere, formed the official opposition at one point. These were big forces in Canadian political life. It never happens in the United States. It's always the donkey and the elephant. Why is it impossible for a third force, be it you, be it Ross Perot, be it whoever, to have a greater impact in U.S. politics?
One is that people grow up knowing that only one of two can win, Republican, Democrat. So huge proportion of the votes we call hereditary Democrats, hereditary Republicans. It doesn't matter who's nominated, they're going to go for their grandparents' party. The second is the winner take all, so that you can get 48%, and they don't mean anything. All those 48% of the votes down the drain. The one who gets 52%, no proportional representation. And third, the Electoral College, which is a totally antiquated, bizarre thing where someone running for president can come in second in the popular vote and become president. That's happened 3 times in American politics, and close other times as well. Interesting, there's an interstate compact movement going that basically is going to end the Electoral College, where states are saying to one another, they're passing laws, and they're saying to one another, we will give all our electoral votes to whoever wins the national popular vote. And they're already they're past the halfway mark. They've got California, New York, Maryland passing laws already. This is being done by a multimillionaire funding it in San Francisco, Steve Silberstein, and 6 staff. That's it. And so it points out again and again what I say to people. It's a lot easier than you think to change things that are wrong in your country. As long as you have majority opinion behind it, what Abraham Lincoln called the public sentiment, and you have at least 1% of the people really digging in the various ridings or districts in terms of aggressive civic engagement. That's the combination that is unbeatable.
Mr. Nader, as always, good to see you again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit supporttvo.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.